Good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss about the manufacturing industry in India, part 2, mineral based. So what is the factor affecting the location of the industry? That is the very first question. Which factor affect the localization of the industry? Suppose we want to open the industry in any part of the country, then what are the essential factor we have to consider? The very first is that of the capital investment. If you have the money, that capital investment is there is important. After the capital investment, we will see the raw material for that industry is suitable there or not. Then further we will see the availability of the market was the important factor. Banking and financial institution, either it is well connected by a road or rail, transport facility, supply of the water. So these are the basic essential necessity for opening of any of the industry. So that begin with the first the investment, the capital investment, and then government policies is also significant. So these are the factor which are basically affect, and don't forget the labor, because labor is the main input in the industry. So labor is also one of the main factor or the key factor, or these are the geographical factor which affect the localization of any type of industry, maybe agro-based industry, maybe mineral-based industry, or any other type of industry. Now we will talk about some classification of industries. Industries are classified on the basis of the raw material. Industry classified on the basis of the management. So industry classified on the basis of size. So first we will see how the industries are classified on the basis of the raw material. So as you can see, these are industry classified on the basis of raw material. For example, on the basis of consumption of the raw material, two type of industries are there: heavy industries and the lighter industry. What is a heavy industry? Which needs more capital, sophisticated equipment, skilled, unskilled labor, large quantity of the raw material. Its finished product is also very heavy. So that is called heavy industry. But what is a light industry? Light industry needs less capital investment, less number of workers, and its finished product is also light in weight. Here we are comparing in terms of weight. Heavy weight, heavy industry; light weight, light industry. If the input is heavy and output heavy, that is a heavy industry. Input is light and output is also light, so that is a light industry. So for example, if we will talk about the heavy industry, the iron steel industry is the best example of the heavy industry. Same way locomotive industry, automobile industry, shipbuilding industry, aircraft industry, these are the heavy industries. And if we will talk about the light industries, then light industry category, electrical goods are there, TV sets are there, swing machine are there, cycles, bicycles. So all these considered as the lighter industry. So this is the first classification. Second classification of the industry on the basis of raw material. For example, source of raw material. For example, the agro-based industry. For example, the mineral-based industry, animal-based industry, forest-based industry. So these are example based on the raw material. So very first, agro-based industry are those industry which depends on agriculture for supply of their raw material. Clear? For example, sugar industry, jute industry, pot industry, vegetable oil industry, food processing industry, etc. And mineral-based industry are what? Which receives their raw material from minerals. That is called mineral-based. And examples are iron steel industry, aluminium, cement, shipbuilding industry, and so many others are there. Animal-based industry depends on animals for their raw material. For example, woolens, for example, silk, for example, dairy product, poultry, so hides and skins and leather industry. So all these are animal-based industry. Then what is the forest-based industry? Forest-based industry are those industry which depends upon their raw material on forest resources. For example, forest products. For example, paper industry, cardboard industry, tanning of leather, lac, and timber industry. These are the important. Now second classification, that is on the basis of management. Basis of management, there are three type of industry: private sector industry, public sector industry, and joint sector industry. First, what is private sector industry? Private sector industry are those industry which are managed by the private firm or individual. That is called private sector industry, which are managed, owned, controlled, run and managed by individual industrialists or firms, manufacturing, engineering industry, electronic goods engineering, that is called private sector industry. Now, what is public sector industry? Which are owned, controlled, run, managed by the government or its further agencies, maybe central government, maybe state government, maybe its agencies. That is called a public sector industry. For example, railway transport service, post and telegraph service, refineries are there, irrigation project are there, defense establishment are there. These are public sector industry. Now, what is examples? If we will talk, for example, BHEL, Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, then Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, HAL, then Electronic Corporation of India, that is also one of the example. Now, third one is a joint sector industry. These are jointly managed by the private firms or individual with the state government or central government and further its agency. So, it is a joint venture of both private or individual firms and state or central government. And the best example is OIL. What is that? Oil India Limited. So, this is the best example of cooperative sector industry. And in your local areas, in your regional areas, like sugar mills are there, run by farmers producing sugarcane. Third, on the basis of size, large scale, medium scale and small scale, which employ large number of labor, large number of worker. Investment is also more, large investment, more number of raw material, more number of machinery, so large scale. Example, automobile and iron steel industry. Medium scale industry employ neither more nor too small number of workers, so that is a small scale, just like cycle industry, radio industry, paper mills, etc. Then what is the small scale industries? Are industry which are run by individuals or by few workers or employed, and goods produced are mostly for daily consumption. So, that is of the small industries. And for example, in this regard, the rice mills are there, the flour mills are there, the bakeries are there. Then cottage industry, the cottage industry, the small industry where the laborers or the people, those who are engaged are the family members itself. So, they are cottage industry. For example, beekeeping, metal carving, wooden carving, wood making, khansari, agarbatti making, or any of the small to small scale industry, that is called cottage industry. Now, next important is the iron steel industry. What is the iron steel industry? Iron steel is the key industry or the basic industry. Why it is called the key or the basic industry? Because all other industries depends upon their raw material for the iron and steel industries. Now, which are that iron steel industries? For example, you can see basic industry like the backbone of the industrial economy of India. Most of the important industries such as automotive, locomotive industry, automobile industries are there, trucks industry, railway industry, tractor, shipbuilding, machine tools, manufacture of defense equipment. All these are related with the iron steel industry. And second one, that is of the integrated iron steel plant. What does it mean, the integrated iron steel plant? Integrated iron steel plant is that plant where all three process from melting of iron ore in blast furnace to steel making followed by shaping of the metal by rolling is called under one complex is called integrated iron steel industry. And what is the mini steel plants? Mini steel plant are the small decentralized unit which use the scrap iron or sponge iron as a raw material for production of alloy steel, mild steel, stainless steel, liquid steel, ingots, etc. So, that is the mini steel plant which are smaller than iron and steel. Advantage of the mini steel plant. What is the very first advantage? That it uses scrap iron which is easily available in the country. That is the very first advantage. Second, they do not use heavy capital investment. And third, they do not cause pollution. That is the main advantage of the mini steel plant. Fourth, they do not produce a special steel, and it can be set up in any convenient place as they do not need huge infrastructure. So these are the advantages. Some disadvantage is also there. For example, mini steel plant is that it is totally depend on the electric power. So electric power is available throughout. So then secondly, they consume more power per unit weight of the steel produced than its integrated steel plant. So that is the disadvantage. And if we will talk about where are some of the mini steel plant in India, then Kanpur, Jaipur, Pune, Hyderabad, Ranchi, Delhi, Bhopal, these are the important one. Now large integrated iron steel plant we will talk about. The Tata Steel Company, that is under private sector, that is also called TISCO, Tata Iron Steel Company. Then Rourkela Steel Plant, that is set up in collaboration with the West German company. And then Visakhapatnam Steel Plant. And Bhilai Steel Plant is not in the syllabus. Now first we will talk about the Tata Steel Plant, which was one of the largest steel plant in the country, TISCO, and which was established in the 2005. 2005 the TISCO name is there, but it is a private concern, private enterprise. Moreover, it was established in 1907 by Jamshedji Tata at Sakchi in the Singhbhum district of the Jharkhand. Later on, it was named as Jamshedpur after Jamshedji Tata. So it is Tata Nagar also, Tata Iron Steel Company, and its production started in 1911. So some of the important factors like high grade of the hematite that is easily available from the Noamundi mines, Singhbhum in Jharkhand, and Mayurbhanj in Odisha. The coal comes from the Jharia coal field, manganese comes from the Kyonjhar. Similarly, river is available from the Swarnrekha river for pulling purpose, for pulling the machinery, etc. And Jamshedpur being well connected with the Kolkata, Mumbai and Chennai by road and railways. So these are some of the important raw material which are utilized for the purpose of this: manganese, limestone. So these are the coal. These are the important ingredients or the raw material used for manufacturing of iron steel plant. So that we will talk about which are the favorable conditions. For example, the iron ore, if we will talk about, that comes from Delhi Rajhara mines, and coal coming from Korba mines, Jharia and Bokaro coal field is also. Limestone come from Nandini mines, manganese coming from the Balaghat of Madhya Pradesh, dolomite obtained from the Bilaspur, and thermal power plant that comes from the Korba thermal power station. And same way Rourkela steel plant, this plant is situated in the Sundargarh districts of the North Odisha, and it was set up with the collaboration with the West German company, and it was one of the well-known establishment of the iron steel plant in the country. This is having the coal supply from the Jharia, Talcher and Korba coal field. Same way iron ore comes from the Sundargarh and Kyonjhar district, that is not far away. And manganese is coming from the Barjmura, and dolomite from the Bardwar and Hirni mines of Madhya Pradesh. And water supply from the Brahmani river. And cheap labor is easily available from the nearby areas. And Visakhapatnam, Rourkela iron steel plant, and Visakhapatnam, that is the latest integrated steel plant, and seashore based steel plant it is, and it is one of the major export oriented port, and this plant is famous for shipbuilding industry, that is the Visakhapatnam steel plant. Now we will talk about some of the problem faced by the iron steel industry. The very first problem is the capital investment, and second problem is of the foreign trade, because the production of iron steel falls short of our demand, and India spent crores of rupees to import these items. Third one is the lack of technology, that is one of the main concerns. And another main concerns regarding the problems is the low productivity. If we will talk about the productivity, the per capita labor is one of the lowest in the world. And another problem faced, that is a low potential utilization in India. And another problem faced, that is heavy demand of iron and steel products. Now next is the electronic industry. In this industry, what is electronic? Electronic industry means a wide range of products including television sets, transistor sets, telephone, exchange, cellular, telecom, paging, computer, varied equipments, all these are considered the electronic. Do you know which is called the largest center in India or electronic capital city? That is the Bangalore. That is the electronic capital of India, developing broadcasting and telecommunication. And very first Indian telephone industry is also established where? In Bangalore. So that is about that. At present, it has a diversified production of the range. For example, post and telegraph departments, the railways, defense, overseas communications services, electricity boards. The range includes automatic telephone, switching system, teleprinter, exchange, long distance transmission system, electronic test instrument and components. And in this regard, the Bharat Electronics Limited is well known, which is established in Bangalore. Beside that, we will talk about software industry. Bangalore is called the Silicon Valley of India due to large number of information technology companies are located here, and many multinational corporations and computer hardware and software giants have operational in Bangalore. And Bangalore is the IT industry into two main clusters, Electronic City and Whitefield. And some of the international Whitefield home international headquarters are there, like the Tech Park, like the Bangalore Tech Park is one of the famous, that is joint venture between India and Singapore. Some IT companies of the world like Dell, TCS, Oracle, iGet are situated here. So Bangalore is also hub of many high-tech companies like Infosys, Wipro, Tata and many other multinational companies. Now the question comes, what are the important factors which establish or responsible for the IT sector in Bangalore? So very first is the progressive government policies are there. Readily available world-class infrastructure, technology infrastructure is there, pleasant and comfortable climate so to allow efficient working, center for international conference are there and various workshops, innovative global meets held by the various companies. So these. Now another center, that is Hyderabad, is another major software industry in India. Beside that, here many headquarters like IBM, Infosys and Microsoft, Oracle, Wipro Technologies established in Hyderabad. Next is the television and audio system, that is also considers the electronic industry, and significant role is the space technology and electronic industry, which produce one. We talk about space technology and electronics. Space technology and electronic industry, Indian electronic industry has contributed a lot to the space technology. National Remote Sensing Agency, as you know, NRSA at Hyderabad is a remote sensing, is a technique to acquire information about object for the measurement made from the distance for a space without any contact with the object. That is the main focus of the NRSA. Another important Sriharikota, as you name here, this is a satellite launching station established there. And ISRO, do you know what is the full form? Indian Space Research Organization, and where it is located? That is Bangalore, Karnataka. So these are some of the important. Now latest one, that is the Messrs. Antrix Corporation, that is Bangalore, Karnataka. The Department of Space was established in the 1992 with the access to resource of Indian space industry. Now finally we talk about the petrochemical industry. Do you know what is petrochemical? Petrochemical industry is a chemical substance obtained from petroleum or natural gas or gasoline, kerosene or petroleum. Which are the raw material for the petrochemical industry? Petroleum, LPG and coal. These are the main raw material. And polymerization is again used to produce the petroleum byproducts. Which are the byproducts of petrochemical? Learn, plastic, synthetic rubber, synthetic fiber, PVC, detergent and others. And if question comes, which are the raw material for the petrochemicals? Don't forget coal, petroleum fields. So these are some of the important raw material. And if question asks what are the products of petrochemical industry, so check out, listen, polythene, vinyl, PVC of plastic group, nylon, Dacron, Tetron, terylene, acrylon, synthetic fiber group and synthetic rubber, all these are considered in this category. Now what are the importance of petrochemicals? This question asked in the board exam. So remember, cost effective, that is the importance, economically stable, it is cheaper as produced on a large scale, raw material is easily available, not dependent on agriculture raw material in the case of jute. And do you know where is the first petrochemical complex established? That is the Union Carbide India Limited, Trombay, that is the first one. And second one, that is Koili plant, Udix, Gujarat. Then Indian Petrophils Corporation Limited, that is established in Vadodara. Some petrochemical complex like Petrophils Cooperative Limited, PCL, Vadodara, Naldhari, Gujarat. Then petrochemical complex at Bongaigaon, that is in Assam. Then Haldia Petrophils and Mitsubishi Chemical Corporation, that is in West Bengal. Now we will talk about some of the important petrochemical projects underway in India. Where it is, that is the Patal Ganga project near Hazira by Reliance Group and Haldia Petrochemicals are notable. Now quickly highlighting some of the important cities asked in the questions regarding which are the important cities of sugar industry: Coimbatore, Ahmednagar, Solapur and Satara. If question come electronic center, don't forget Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi. If oil refinery center in public sector, then Koili in Gujarat, Barauni in Bihar and Nunmati in Assam. If question asks oil refinery in private sector, the cities are Digboi in Assam, Vishakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh, Trombay in Maharashtra. And new oil refinery, Haldia in West Bengal and Mathura in UP. Now finally, that is the electronics goods. Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, that is well known, Hyderabad, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, Bangalore, Karnataka and Ghaziabad in Uttar Pradesh. In this way we come to an end of the mineral based industry part 2. Next time we will see with another chapter of transport in India.